look like I'm flagging a slight bit, it's because I've been juiced up with the latest Windows microchips.
You got 5G.
You've had the booster.
You transmitting?
When did you have it? Today.
Today.
How do you feel? I was very sick after I had mine. You should all get it, but it did screw me up a little bit. But it didn't last very long, like a day, and then I was back to normal. But
were you quite sick on the same day you got it?
No, day after. I was fine the same day.
Everyone's telling me.
Yeah, you're screwed tomorrow. I didn't
I'll
sleep.
go back to work tomorrow.
I had like a, like when you feel really cold at night, and then
got the shivers and the sweat.
Got the shivers. It was really
I was
cold.
generally okay, but I had a dead arm for 48 hours.
Oh yeah, the arm sucks.
My arm's a bit sore, like someone's giving it a punch. But
did you have your flu jab at the same time?
No.
Oh.
No.
No.
Flu jab?
I had my COVID booster in one arm and my flu jab in the other arm. But that was back in October, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
someone gets this early, so.
Someone was like, "I want a day off tomorrow."
Everyone, get your booster. Everyone, it's worth it. COVID is worse.
What we should really say is Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry.
Merry
Everything's
Christmas
fine.
and
2022 is going to be great.
UK hasn't hit a lockdown yet.
Yeah, we're doing great. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Almost.
I was a bit surprised. I was expecting a COVID lockdown announcement, but I did see that. Where was it? Some country in Europe. Amsterdam. Well, no, it's not Amsterdam. In the Netherlands, yeah. I think they kicked off.
Where the calling was going to be.
Yeah,
which has now been cancelled.
Yeah, that's probably why they all kicked off, because there was just
the calling was cancelled.
Calling's cancelled.
I know they rioted and police showed up and everything, and they were like, "Oh, they all shouted flesh and blood." Flesh and blood.
2022 is going to be a lot better. Hopefully, no rioting. So, you never know.
I mean, we've already talked about 2022 from a Fab Outlook perspective on our self-indulgent year of review. But I am truly excited about the level of play that we're going to see this year.
Yeah, it's intense considering we have a ton of ProQuest level events within the first 3 months of the year. So who knows what's going to happen for the remaining 9 months of the year? Probably just a lot more. Another nationals at some point.
I think what this year will be good for is actually LSS setting out their season pattern.
That's true.
Because every year for the last 3 years the game has been out, they've had disruption with COVID or getting off the ground. So this year we'll actually see what maybe they have as a vision for their pro seasons and skirmish seasons and national seasons. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm hoping we can do it.
Yeah, it would be great to see a whole year and just like when do I need to not be super busy so I can actually play the game, and like when are the key times going to be? Yeah,
Tripp, the ProQuest season has came out on quite literally the worst time ever for us Elden Ring fans.
That is true. That is true.
I know.
That's actually a real issue.
Tough choices to be made, boys. Tough choices.
Well, I can play Elden Ring during the week, and then I can Flesh and Blood at the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, Tripp doesn't test anyway.
No, he doesn't test. I thought you said you were going to test.
I don't test. No, I'm going to play more. That's how I test.
That's how you're going to test.
You know when it's like, fuck it, do it live. That's how I test. I just do it live.
Yeah, I know, but you got to play more. You got to know.
No, the only real Flesh and Blood experience is an actual tournament experience. If you're not playing in a tournament, it's worthless. That's my
practice like you play, right?
I don't want to die on that hill.
Welcome to 2022, everyone.
The spiciest
take. The tournament, just don't bother.
No, I'm
right. Before we get too far, I'm going to say, please like, please subscribe.
Yeah. Oh my god,
comment
really?
on all our videos.
No, don't.
We need to start saying this earlier. Apparently,
stop subscribing.
Saying it at the end of an hour and 30-minute podcast is probably too late.
Yeah.
A reverse psychology. Everyone stop subscribing, and then if you want, subscribe.
Yeah.
Does that work?
And don't bother going on our
If you're
Patreon.
going to subscribe, make sure. But yeah, go on the Patreon. Do that.
Or do that. Don't subscribe. Patrons, yeah.
Well, we all need new microphones. So
we're 60 subs away from 500 subscribers, which basically means that we get to talk to you through that annoying community tab on YouTube. So if you really want to get top quality polls, subscribe now to push the point, so we can really annoy you on a daily basis with community posts. But or alternatively, we won't do that if you get us to 500 subs.
We just won't do it.
Yeah.
Don't tease them.
I know. Should we do the drinks?
Yeah.
We probably should. Look at Hamish's face. Look,
we've been
he's
talking
so excited.
Because we've not talked much during. Well, I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys have been talking, but we've not talked a lot over the Christmas because we've been with our families and stuff. So we just talked for about an hour before the podcast started, just catching up. So
and then we were like, "Oh, we probably should have
for our drink.
Probably should have put that in the podcast." Yeah, my beer's going warm.
Okay, so I told my family to go and get me some interesting lagers because that's one of the features that we have.
Fantastic.
So
Christmas present beers. Come on, what have you got, Hamish?
I loved it. So, Simon and Tripp, this one here is a Shipyard Portland Lager, American.
Oh, very nice.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Shipyard are quite good, out of Oregon.
Is it?
Portland, Oregon?
Well, I have no Maine. It's in Maine.
Oh, is it Maine? What am I thinking of that's out of... Oh, is it Portland, Maine?
Portland, Maine, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who... Well, I don't know where I think Outcast Haven are from that end. If they are, I don't know. Is this any good? I don't know.
We might find out later.
Yeah, I'll tell you in a sec. Simon, what are you drinking?
Right. Well, I went to Marks and Spencer's recently because I had a voucher to spend. So I've gone with a... Yeah.
Who gives you Marks and Spencer's voucher?
Grandparents.
It's a good voucher.
Oh my god! If I got given a Marks and Spencer's, I'll be like,
oh, we got a flash of the beer there.
What is it?
I went with a Burning Sky Brewery, which is down in Lewis near Brighton, and I'm drinking an Arise, which is pale ale Arise with Centennial and what have we got? Centennial and Citra hops. So it's quite hoppy.
Nice.
Very nice.
And Tripp, wildcard.
Okay, so
what are you doing?
Oh, that is nice actually.
I'm gonna ask you a question. So what alcohol do you associate Christmas with?
Lager.
Red wine.
Red wine?
Lager.
What do you say, Hamish?
It's still lager.
Well,
it's lager all the time.
It's not lager. It's the most Christmassy of beverages.
Is it port?
It's a glass of Baileys.
Oh, very
because-
wintry.
Yes, that's true.
We had a bunch of Baileys left over.
Very festive.
Did you drink
we
it
went
for
down
a
for
shoe?
Christmas. No, that is a thing though. Is that
What?
a thing?
How do you not know what
How
that
do you
is?
not know what?
No.
What that is?
It rings a bell, but that's
you
why I
don't
wasn't
know
As
what
close
it
as you can get without getting your eyes wet.
Is it? Maybe I'm showing my age.
You
anyway.
are showing your age a little bit, but you're not. You should be within the realms of still knowing what that is.
When did it come out?
Stop playing games with me, Tripp.
What? You don't know the Mighty Boosh?
Oh, I
Stop
do know the
playing
Mighty
games
Boosh,
with
but
me.
Yeah, that's the
I don't
Mighty
know that.
Boosh. I'm out, Greg. Have you ever done Bailey's for a shoe?
Okay, it is in there.
It is.
Love
isn't
games.
It? It's quite
That's why I wasn't immediately like, what the hell are you talking
Oh
about?
my god, ladies and gentlemen, we've got
Anyway.
a guy that looks like he should be on the Mighty Boosh, but he doesn't know what it is.
I mean, he looks like he's trying to be Noel Fielding for a while.
I'm just being myself, guys.
He's being Orlando. Sorry.
Let's let people live. And
yeah.
going around here being like he's trying to be some. I'm trying to be me. Okay.
More serious question: do you have ice in your Baileys?
No, I don't have any ice.
Oh,
It's just,
would you have ice?
If I'd known it was going to sit on the side for 45 minutes, yeah, I might have done.
Are you now drinking a lukewarm glass of Baileys?
It's actually still really cold. It's in a glass, so it's not too bad. But anyway,
welcome
cheers.
back.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome back. So,
Welcome back,
Simon. What is today's order?
Right. So,
Oh,
I mean,
tasty.
we're in the flesh and blood off season, right? It feels like we've had a bit of a break. I think we should probably talk about Christmas because everyone loves Christmas. And I think Dan Tripp wanted to talk about some fab New Year's resolutions as well.
Yeah, we were scraping the barrel. We're thinking we've not played Flesh and Blood. I think Simon said he's played 3 games. I've not played any games in the last 2 weeks or whatever. So we're like, what can we think? What can we talk about? And I was like, well, what do we want to do? Like, what is our resolution for 2022 when it comes to Flesh and Blood? Like, I guess not so much what do you want to achieve, but like what do you want to? Well, maybe it is what you want to achieve, but like an overarching view of 2022 would be pretty nice. So we'll talk about that, and we've probably got an interview.
Yeah,
We've probably not done it yet,
there's no
but there will
problem.
be.
We definitely have an interview.
definitely do.
Definitely
Come
have an interview. Sorry, we definitely do. I don't know what I'm talking about. Because of course we have an interview.
We
We always have an interview,
we're gonna
even
have-
when we didn't.
We're gonna have. We're
We
gonna
had
have.
Shane.
We're gonna have Blake. We're gonna have Blake from Outcast Haven. Come on,
Ah, amazing.
and me and him are gonna have a lovely discussion about what it's like making content. So you can have two different sides of the field.
Yeah, it's like a meta.
And I
meta
think Blake is
conversation.
actually one of our newest patrons as well.
Is
Oh,
he?
really? Oh, legend.
Good on you,
Nice
Blake.
one, mate.
What a hero.
Have you got one? Because I haven't, but I
Yeah,
might.
because if you do, Simon will. he'll
Simon
sub.
will. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Simon's a doctor. He's got loads of money.
Oh, thank you for that.
He's got enough. He's got enough for all the patrons.
That's why you have 3 people.
I
on
work
the
in adult
podcast.
social care. If you read the news, we're not doing well. This is why we need a patron to keep.
I already
me
subbed to
going.
push the points.
Yeah. Fyendal's library subs to push the
Yeah.
points.
Oh,
So
no,
what's that all
That's-
about?
Yeah, cheers, Fyendal's library.
Yeah, what a great channel.
Right, so yeah,
Right, so I'm really nosy.
Right.
So I just want to know what your best Christmas present was.
I'll ask Hamish because I need to think about this. What did I get for
I'd probably
Christmas?
I'd ask
Oh, I know.
yourself, Simon. Oh, that was quick. Okay.
I
Go on
don't
then,
know.
Tripp.
I
What's
don't
your
know.
best Christmas present?
Boop.
This
There you
is
Go
I
on.
think this is quite a good present. I got one of those Aeropress coffee makers for Christmas, which is like I've always wanted one. Kate got one for me, and I've been using it, and it's really good. So that is my present. That I think was my.
It's
best
really
one.
funny you should say that, Tripp.
Is it not your one as well?
That was my favourite present as well. I got an
Say,
Aeropress coffee
you are
maker.
joking. We are
you
so.
do realise that this is just now fueling my theory that you guys
we meet
do
up and
message each other,
discuss-
and then you're like, oh, and then your girlfriend's like, what should we get up, to, friends? Oh, should we get
Let's
this
troll
together?
Hamish by saying our favourite Christmas present's the same thing.
So I don't get just geeky about beer. I also get a bit
Yeah.
geeky about coffee. And what I've been really surprised at with the Aeropress is how smooth the coffee is that it makes. I've been really impressed actually. I thought it was a bit of a fad, but I'm impressed.
I just like how it makes so little mess. Like
Yeah.
all the coffee is in like a pellet, and you just throw it in the bin or in the like outside waste if you got that. So good because otherwise
Absolutely.
the granules go everywhere. Hamish, I think you completely agree. Like I can see your face. You're just
Well,
like,
no,
I'm
it's
also
fine.
on board. Are you saying that your favorite Christmas present was also an Aeropress coffee maker?
I don't like coffee,
Oh,
or I don't really drink coffee or tea.
or tea.
No, I drink water.
How do you
Wow.
do anything? Do you drink energy drink?
No, I drink water.
Oh my god.
He's so clean. Look at him.
I know, and I'm so fat. It's unreal. How are you
How
guys
do you
so
function?
thin?
It's constant caffeine. That's basically it.
Oh, yeah,
Because
that's probably-
we're always buzzing. Our hearts are beating about 1,000
I'm the only
beats
one
per
that's
minute.
I'm the only one that's proper buzzing throughout the end of the podcast. You guys are like this. "Oh, I need to go to
No,
bed.
I'm great.
I'm gonna
I'm great.
die."
I'm
And I'm
great
like-
now, but in like 15 minutes, I'm like, that is
Okay,
so not true.
So I did get a
Hamish, as
Christmas
well.
present. I
You
did get a
always flag
Christmas
by the end.
present. It wasn't my favorite, but I will. What should I say? My favorite one was. My favorite Christmas present was probably. I got a couple of manga books. I really liked that, and I was quite excited when I got these new lagers for
Yeah.
today's
Yeah.
podcast. I was really excited to do that because it was
It's a good one.
I
It's
just love
it's
the
little
fact that you can
things that-
share it with us.
No, yeah, no, it's just it's little things that people get me that are like you know related to some of my weird little hobby stuff. Like I collect manga, I play card games and stuff. So when I get something that ties into that, then I love that. Oh, I got a really cool deck box, one of those big Ultimate Guard Hive boxes, which are huge.
yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
So I got one of them. I was really happy with that. Now, one present that was meant to be a main present from my mum to me and Faye, I was actually more excited that the fact that it ties into what I talked about a couple of episodes ago. Remember when I said the comfortizer and I saw an advert to
How could we forget the comfortizer?
Right, I know. But remember I said there was an advert that said something, and it was like the something tizer, and I said they're fucking ripping us off. My mum brought it. For me, it's called a velvetizer, and it makes really smooth hot chocolate. And when they opened it up, I was like, the velvetizer? Ah, that just went nuts. And they were like,
I do
what?
have a velvetizer, and it is sublime.
Yeah,
my
so
God.
I got a velvetizer, which was just made. I just thought, I can't believe we talked about this on the podcast. I told my mum, I brought this up on the podcast, and mum's like, okay.
What your mum is saying is she actually listens to the podcast.
Maybe. So I got the thing that I talked about on the podcast.
That's really good.
Yeah, I was
That
just
is
like,
brilliant.
wow.
That is really good.
That is-
I also
that's
like
cool.
we all got hot beverage based goods for Christmas.
love it.
Well, I
which is
wasn't.
pretty
I
decent.
wasn't. I mean, I did look at it. I was more excited the fact that we tied it into a podcast, and Faye was like, "This is cool." And I'm like, "Is it? I don't even know what the fuck it does. It just says velvetizer on it, and it was just sounds like my podcast thing." And then she said, "I feel bad because you really will not care about this present, and it'll be me using it all the time." So there you go. I've got a velvetizer, everyone.
Oh, wicked! We do. I didn't get any Flesh and Blood related stuff, which is
well,
fine. I almost bought some
there's nothing to
cards.
buy,
But
is there?
I went to a store and I was like, should I buy some packs? And I was like, well, I pretty much have everything I want. So like,
Yeah.
it seems wasteful.
I got the
I was
stock.
like, and I was saying like, sometimes it's nice to have a break because it means you can come back and you feel refreshed. Like we play the game quite a lot, and like it can get pretty. You know, you're playing it every week, so actually having a little bit of time off is really nice. So.
I feel there's sometimes though it can happen, and it hasn't happened because this game is awesome. But sometimes you can put something down for a couple of weeks, and you actually struggle to pick it back up again. I would. It's one of it does. I wouldn't
The
be
RPG
surprised.
problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of people that might have had this break and then probably just went, you know what? I liked this break. I'm going to continue going on a break.
Either that or like stepping back a bit and being like, well, 2021 was like, even with the disruption, it was a super busy year for the game. There was a lot of events and a lot of tournaments, and maybe just stepping back and be like, look, I'm going to do my local armory, but I might not do every single pro quest. I might do like one pro quest, being a bit more like, maybe thinking about how much I want to play the game.
A couple of the guys in my town have done that. That's they've had this break. But they've had this break, and I just said, spoilers coming up, and you jump in, all ProQuest has come in, and they all just went, I ain't bothered. They found something else to keep their interest going.
Spoilers will bring people back.
Yes, they always do. They always do.
I
Spoilers
found
bring it back.
actually the period after Nationals was probably the hardest to know what to do with.
Yeah.
In a sense of like you've put all this effort in and you've been doing all this testing and building this deck and you've hyped everything up for this one event, and then it's like Halloween time and the event's over and there's nothing on the calendar now until what turned out to be February, right? So
we because we were the first, we did get I felt like it was like the World Cup, England's out or whatever, we're done. But we, every week there was
really good to watch.
And we were like,
it was
cool.
really good to watch.
What's the meta going to do? And the
but
meta
it was the
keeping
evolution of the Briar meta, wasn't it?
So once all the nats were done, it was like, oh, World Cup's over now.
I mean, I know a lot of people. I do think that the Nationals was a really good time for people getting into the game because obviously there's lots of games. People were watching stuff on Twitch. People were hearing about Nationals and people having a good time. And I know a few people seem to start taking the game maybe a little bit more seriously after Nationals. The people that didn't go to Nationals, and were like, this game looks really fun. And like, there's a clear progression system that culminates at Nationals and obviously Worlds. But for most people, Nationals is the achievable goal. And they were coming into the game after Nationals. So I found, especially in London, because I actually found there was more going on after Nationals in London because there was a lot of new players who were really excited to play the game. So like there was lots of like people like being like, oh, let's all go to this tournament, let's all do that. And actually there was a bit of a buzz. It was like that new player buzz, and it was like infectious. Even for me as like I call myself an old player. None of us have been playing this game.
Experienced player.
For that long, right? A couple of years, not even a couple of years, like a year and a bit. But that was quite exciting. There's nothing like new players.
Yeah, new blood.
Like playing against someone you've never played against before, and then especially if they beat you, you're just like, yes, this is exactly what I want, is new players who are really good. And then you're like, okay, this is exciting. Having new people coming in who are good that you can play against and get better, and seeing people get better, that's what I've really enjoyed seeing post Nationals. A bit of a lull in the competitive calendar, but time for new people to get experience, which is really good. It's like off season is the time to get out there and grind and get better before it gets serious again.
I've had to put that label on it. I've had to call it an off season because there are armories going on, and we have 2 or 3 locals around a week, local armories a week. But anyone that I've managed to go to, I've been prioritizing for CC my Earthbriar deck because I really enjoy playing it. For Blitz, I've been playing Chain because I quite enjoy playing that. Like, I've not been playing necessarily the top meta decks, but I've been
just
playing
said Chain and Blitz.
No, so
move on. It's not meta. No. Don't play it. It's crap.
Well, yeah. So Chain in Blitz. All right, Chain in Blitz is very, very good.
It's busted,
but it's a coin flip, isn't it? Versus Lightning Briar. Anyway, my Earthbriar is definitely not the meta choice in CC. But what I have really been enjoying is Limited, and we played an armory for Welcome to Wraith draft the other day, and that was just brilliant. That like reminded me why Welcome to Wraith was such a good intro set. And again, having done the practice for Tales of Aria draft, I was able to use a lot of the concepts that I learned from that for Welcome to Wraith draft, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's such a good set, just because of I say this all the time, and I'm sure I've said it on the podcast before, but I do feel like there's a lack of attack reactions in more recent sets, and it's such a important concept to learn in the game is the unblockable damage, in huge quotation marks for podcast listeners, of attack reactions, and that aspect, it really throws new players. If they go into a classic construct and they come up against a Dorinthia, and it can be really difficult to work around that, and it's those early sets really taught that skill really well, that reaction phase stuff. And then obviously in Arcane Rising you had all the instant stuff with Kano, which was also really useful to learn. And it's kind of like that has not been lost. Obviously Prism does a lot of stuff in instant step, but I would like to see a return. I know attack reactions can be super powerful. I mean, Hamish, we talked about like potential, you were saying like a card for Viscerize attack reaction. We talked a bit about that. I don't know if that was on the podcast or we were just chatting. But like it was just, I'd like to see more inventive attack reaction style cards come in the future. I just think it's a good idea. You've got to be
very careful though.
Yeah.
You've got to be so careful because, I mean, we didn't get necessarily an attack reaction in Tales of Aria, but we did get Lightning Press, which is a pseudo attack, which it might as well be, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to be just kind of really careful with it. I think it's good that there's only so few choices at the minute, because they're there to try and do a gotcha, and you don't want to have. I don't know if you want to have a lot of gotchas, but it did make me think when you were talking about it that it's weird how how the meta has went lately when you've got these 2 Runeblade powerhouses of Chain and Briar that really they've been really, really strong because they don't necessarily run attack reactions. They just actually generate just some really...
They just go really wide.
Yeah, some just to the face power. And I think that's probably where a lot of people get kind of a bit annoyed, because it's like, well, there is no trickery. This is straight to the face damage, and it's really difficult to deal with. That's more annoying than what it could be 4, but it could be 7. Do you have it? Do you not? That like that Dorinthia thing about her is like, it is 3. This sword is coming in for 3, or is it? And that's the thing where you got to go.
There's a lot of bluff involved.
Can I deal with that? Can I manage that?
I think people don't like losing to gotcha, right? Like you're playing
like route.
Yeah, like route. People hate route, and like people hate well, they don't hate it, but you're playing
route.
They might
ancestral empowerment.
Sigil of suffering you or
triggers
something,
me.
and you die. And you're like, because no one likes to lose when they think they're about to win as well, which is another aspect of like why some people dislike playing against Kano, because it's like, oh, I'm doing really well, I'm about to win this game, and then it turns, and then
suddenly they've done 15 damage on your turn.
How does this feel for the player? But I think I agree with you, Hamish, and I really like attack reactions because they add a different dimension to the game. But I think fundamentally, I want Flesh and Blood to remain a blocking game. Like, I want the majority of the action to take place in that stage of the game, the attack and the block. I want that to be where the majority of decision making takes place, as opposed to the instant step and the reaction step. Like that. I'm not saying I love those steps as well. I've just said I really like attack reactions, but I think like people used to play Hearthstone, and everyone used to say like Hearthstone should remain a game about minion versus minion combat, and it completely lost its way with that because it came much more about like OTK and RGN, like not RGN, random stuff.
That's RNG.
RNG, like and I think it was when it was minions fighting minions, and it was like, oh, I can get the balance of what this does to this does, and it's the same in Flesh and Blood. Like, I do an attack, you do a block. And it's about thinking, well, how do I use my card most effectively? Do I block with it? Do I keep it? That aspect is that's so satisfying, and that's where the tactics kind of comes into it a bit.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because, like, I'm not saying that Pummel and Razor Reflex don't exist, because they clearly do. But without, if your deck is not one of those sort of decks that runs them, defense reactions are actually one of the things that you will see people just put in, right? They will run the sync blows. They probably will run Fate for Scene. You know, if you're going to think of defense reactions, they're the ones that you think of, and they tend to just be not defense reactions, are they? They're not playing the defense reaction thing that you want it to do. They're a 4-block most of the time.
They're playing it as a 0-cost 4-block, right?
You know, and people just go, "Oh, I'll just block for 4," and it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Well, any blocks? No. Reactions? Yes. That right." But it didn't really matter. The reaction was just. There was no Razor Reflex. There was no Pummel. It was just, it's just a 4.
Well, you see it all the time with people skipping reaction step because they're not playing, you know, they just...
Yeah, because they're not...
Especially in Lightning Briar, who does so much stuff with 4 and 7. It's just like they throw down a Scar for a Scar, and you're like, okay, like, I'll fine.
It's just 4.
I'll block it with a Fateful Scene. And you're like, okay, well, that's not how you should play it. You have to wait. But it doesn't matter, does it? Like, waiting doesn't make any sense, even though you should. But, like...
it would be really cool.
No, but it's true, because you then forget what the card actually does, and Sink Below and Fateful Scene actually have really relevant resolution effects. But often people forget that you can do that. They just want it, as Hamish says, for the 4-block.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think having making something more potentially engaging, like in the days, I suppose, when Dorinthia. Was, and maybe, you know, even Katsu, it plays into that ball game as well with Ancestral Empowerment and Razor Reflex. It's that whole, well, do you have it? You got to. It's that fun element of what Welcome to Wraith brought, was the whole, you know, am I going to block this right? You know, that whole, am I going to block this right? And then you go, ha, and then you go, hoo hoo, and you know, and it's that whole, that interaction is just like really good fun for 2 people to play. I think lately, the power levels of breakpoints of 4, go, you know, and then Lightning Press just elevates that to.
It does feel like sometimes more. Against Lightning Briar, you're just sitting back and you're just like, just do it, because I can't race you, so I'm just gonna wait for you to fizzle out, and then I might get to do something.
But
I don't
Chain
hate
did
that,
but Chain was doing that as well in the meta before.
For
far worse. But everything he was doing, all of his attacks were breakpoint 4s. There were, you know, and they were coming out of the band. It was the same sort of mindset of breakpoints of 4, go wide, and level, just deal out at least 3 separate attacks of at least minimum 4 damage.
4 or more damage, yeah.
And then the weapon comes in for 4. It's really, really, really difficult to manage that. Whereas back in Welcome to Wraith days, you know, that was Katsu's thing, but it was a 1 and a 1 and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's always about the mouse trigger, you know, all that sort of stuff. But everyone else was just, it was a little bit more, I don't know,
civilized.
Well, it was not as,
just a little bit more civilized. Wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit more. I don't know. I think it's normal for these things to do what it does. I think at the end of the day, people that's an aggro mindset. That to me is an aggro deck mindset, and I think a lot of people went down that road because one, it's really easy, and two, it's really effective, right? And then they did print a hero called Oldhim, who is the control king, right? He is designed to try to trash that sort of mindset. I'm hoping Everfest can expand on that a little bit more. You know, they will throw out some aggression tools, which is fine, but I hope that they can put in a few more control tools in there as well.
And if you want to learn how to play Oldhim control, make sure you check out our deck tech with the Greek national champion.
That is brilliant. That is a brilliant shout out, and it's still relevant now. And it is a very, very good deck to jump on and pilot. I'd highly recommend to anyone that you should, before we get into ProQuest season, you know, do keep an eye on what this meta is doing. New Zealand's coming out. The New Zealand Nationals is going to be coming up real soon, especially Australia. I'd tune into that, have a watch, and just see what they're doing. Because when ProQuest comes out, I can guarantee no one's going to come up with anything majorly innovative in 2 weeks. I was
going to say that 2 weeks between Everfest release and the first ProQuest in the UK is going to be brilliant.
Oh yeah, but it's just going to be the old meta with a new card.
Well, unless someone's cracked something. Well, you know what I mean?
It's not the first two. It's not the first two tournaments, guys. It's the last two. Those last two are going to be the most fun by far because people are going to, all of it's going to be worked out very quickly once tournaments are actually happening. And you're like, well, that absolutely really well.
But what I mean is that first 2 weeks is just going to be people brewing decks and trying to crack what they've seen, as well as opening packs and scrambling together decks from cards they have. It's going to be such a melting pot of, do I have the cards? Do I think they'll work? What can I change? But I think you're right. I think people will just turn up.
No, they will. But I think the one thing you should do in your testing group is find out the aggro deck. Is it still Briar? You know, or with these new cards, rush to find the hyper aggro deck. Because one, you may want to play it. And two, you may want to crack it, right? And there's no control deck. There's no point making a control deck unless you know what you're controlling. Right? So that's the first thing I'd recommend doing is for the first 2 weeks, rush that aggro deck and find it. And then play it. Or try and break it. That's what I'm planning on doing anyway.
So from a slightly speculative, non-meta point of view, I'm not quite sure what to expect from Everfest. Like, the cards they've released so far have been quite gimmicky, or they seem quite gimmicky.
Oh no, that I don't know what you're on about. That draw a card and all the
Life
text
of the
are
party,
-1s.
or the next round's on me. This round's on me.
I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty good.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. This is, but I want to know. And I think so far LSS have earned my trust in what they've released from sets. I think, barring a few.
The company that made Dustblade?
We made a mistake.
I'm joking. I'm just winding you up.
It's really bad in Blitz. Don't play it.
It's really
I'm having fun waiting for the spoilers. I'm having fun waiting for where... Because if this is going to be a really crazy, gimmicky set, it could go either way.
Oh, no. Those two cards are just crowd pleaser kind of cards. I think they're also... Because they're fun. No, they're fun. They're interesting cards. Like look at them. They're fun cards. They're about having fun. Obviously
Life of the Party is a wild card.
Yeah, they're good fun. They're good. I don't want to call them meme cards. They're definitely not meme cards because we don't know what else is going to come out. If there's stuff that puts Crazy Brew on the field for free, then sure, go for it. That sounds fun. Yeah. But the -1, I think that's really interesting. I'm not sure it quite works because of the way that the draw works. They're going to have potentially 5 cards on their turn, and you're blocking with 4.
But
sure.
I think
having we don't want
-1 is really, really strong.
Right? Yeah. It is really strong. It is.
A 5-card hand is whatever if everything can be blocked from your hand for 3, even your weapon.
It's really good against something like Lightning Briar maybe, but if you're giving them 5 cards and they're coming with arcane damage, who cares? I don't know, Does it -1 the arcane damage? Who knows? Can't remember.
No,
I'm not gonna look it up. So like, you know, we've never been the kind of like, let's go through every card and discuss it, but like they're interesting cards. But like,
I agree.
I agree with you. Look at two cards. You can't get a Judgment of the South. Two cards, especially released at Christmas, where they want to release stuff that's like, you know, have a great time, go out and have some drinks. Apparently, very on theme for Push the Point. I was like, these cards are very good.
Yeah, that would have been good for that would have been good for us to spoil. I'm just saying.
But all I was meaning is that the set is called Everfest. It's based around a festival. There's a carnival slot supposedly in each pack. Like,
who knows?
I'm intrigued to see where they're going to take it and what they're going to do. I mean, let's talk about the paper wrappers as well, though. Just quickly, those paper wrappers look amazing.
Yeah, good job with that, guys. Honestly,
yeah, that's cool.
It's awful. You opening boxes and you're just throwing away trash, and you're just like, this is just.
Well, I hope it actually fulfills what it's meant to do, right? Because you do actually hear the comments of people of other companies that have attempted to do this stuff before, and they, you know, when someone says it's green, but there's actually bits in it that isn't, and so on. Yeah. But it is better than the other ones. So
well, reduce is better than recycle, but I'm not planning on buying any less cards, so that's not happening. No, so like. Maybe you should reuse your current cards, but
every set I tell myself I'm not going to buy as many boxes next time, and it happened again.
I'm actually buying. Here's a quick question for you guys before we move on to the interview. How many boxes are you buying of Everfest?
I can't tell you because Kate just sat down on the sofa about 2
no
minutes
comment.
away from
Okay,
me,
so that means okay, fair enough. So
about the same as I bought of Tails.
Okay, 8, and Simon. Oh, Dan Tripp's put 8 fingers up. Simon
about the same as I got of Tails.
I don't know how many you got from Tails.
That's fine. You don't
2
need to. Nor does my wife.
What? Oh, Dan's deciding to play charades on the podcast. This is going well.
This is great podcast material.
This is terrible for me. I think I might get. I don't know if I'm going to get any.
I was going to say, actually, it might make sense to just buy singles.
Yeah, I think I am.
It's so much fun opening packs.
Yeah, no, Tripp, I put myself into a financial hole with Tales of Aria, and it turned out I only needed 2 cards, and it was...
Tales was a bit of a... It ended up being okay because I ended up playing Simon's Earthbriar deck, so I actually felt quite happy that I invested in that set, because I ended up playing that hero, but... If you didn't play a Tails hero, it was not worth it at all.
It really wasn't worth it. I mean, it was the Creepers and a Rosetta for me. So, you know, and then I just suddenly thought, I'm going to just have to sit and be a little bit more strategic, because when I got top 8 in Nationals, that prize cash saved me from the hole I dug myself in with this Tales of Aria set. So this time I'm going to be a little bit more tactical.
Is your Fab Cave finished now?
What's that?
Is your Fab Cave finished now?
Almost. I've got to put flooring down. I've got the TV in there, and I've got a sofa. I'm going to get a fold-out table in there, and I'll be ready for some fabbing. Anyway, speaking of fabbinings, who wants to listen to Blake from Outcast Haven?
Yes, please.
I would love to.
How are you doing, Blake?
I'm good. It's, New Year's, and things have been pretty chill in the fab world.
Yeah.
Not doing a lot.
Yeah. Have you had a good Christmas?
Yeah. Our holiday was super chill all around the holidays, Christmas and New Year's. We just kind of hung out with family and took it easy, hung out at home, hung out with some friends a little bit here and there, but it was mostly just chill time, which was super nice.
And then what about New Year's? Did you just spend time with the family, or did you, how are you guys pretty... I don't really know, because America's huge, and I hear news that some people in America, it's kind of like everywhere really, some people in America really do not give a crap about the COVID restrictions, and then there's some people that really do take this stuff seriously. So, did you meet up with friends? I don't really know what's the rules are in your states.
Our state's pretty open in terms of, like, it's optional to, like, the businesses and stuff. Schools and all those kind of places typically have mask restrictions, but in terms of going out to bars and stuff like that, things are pretty much up to the establishment to make.
All right.
We just stayed in. My kids, I've got a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they just wanted to stay up till midnight and be, you know, especially my 10-year-old. He was like, I want to stay up till midnight this year. I'm going to stay up till midnight. So it was cool for him. So we just hung out at home, stayed up, and I think he and I played some Blood Bowl is what we did.
Did you?
So, yeah.
Oh wow. What army? What team were you?
I have the Old World Alliance. That's my team, and then he's got the Black Orcs. That's his thing. So he likes the orcs being bullies with their big troll, and then the goblins, especially because he likes that his troll can throw his goblins. That's his big thing.
Yeah, and then he basically just kicks the crap out of your guys. Really.
Just beats him up, and his goblins run around the outside.
Yeah, that sounds like Blood Bowl. So the fab scene has been quite quiet. This is what we've been sort of discussing prior to this, but I wanted to bring you on really just to have a little chat about what it's like as a content creator. And since we both are the content creators, I kind of just wanted to, earwig really on the sort of processes that you go through when you're before you record each of your podcasts. So how did you guys start up? Was Outcast Haven? It sounded like a thing before Fab.
Yeah.
Because that name doesn't have a Fab tie-in. It sounded like there's something you used to do before.
Yeah. So the Outcast Haven wasn't something we did before, but in every game that we've played, we've kind of always been the outcasts of some sort. So we typically tie it locationally. We used to play Star Wars Destiny, and we were the Outer Rim Outcast. That was our gang, like our crew. Then we started playing Dragon Ball Super, and we were the Otherworld Outcasts. So we just kind of kept the name Outcast. That was kind of our thing, and always kind of our crew was the Outcast. So we stuck with that, and then when we moved over, we tried to come up with something that was Outcast but Fab oriented and could be a little more generic. So then it became the Outcast Haven, because we figured we kind of, not intentionally, but we can definitely be a little excitable and just say whatever we think, which people, some people love that about us. Other people take it a little personal, which we don't necessarily intend, but it makes us sometimes feel like the outcast, because we'll take those shots that aren't intended to, like I said, they're not intended to be personal. They're just kind of, we have fun. We always say what we think. We're just honest. And sometimes not having that filter to go, oh, someone's going to get their feelings hurt with this, can backfire a little bit. And as a result, we get kind of pushed to the fringe maybe a little bit, because we're not the most PC or the most kind and thoughtful people with our words. So we thought,
that's what I brought me on. That's how we met. That is definitely how we met, because you guys were being, really really nice to the UK scene during our national stuff.
Just saying thoughtful things.
Yeah, I was like, man, I hate it when people are right.
I think there's always that kind of group of people that feel maybe like they're too honest or too this or too that. So we kind of joke that, we're going to be the haven for outcasts. We're in a place that all the outcasts can go and congregate when they feel like they don't belong somewhere else. So for everybody who, maybe feels like they're this, that, or that, it's like, hey, come hang out with us. We're the outcasts. People get their feelings hurt here all the time. You just have to be willing to get your feelings hurt if you're here. So,
how did you guys meet? How did it start?
Yeah, so it met playing Star Wars Destiny for all of us. We are all big Star Wars fans. We love the Star Wars universe. So we were just went to locals for Star Wars Destiny. They had the local scene just like any other game. They had their locals. You could go play in your little local tournaments, and we all met through that. We got to know each other there, became friends, and hung out, traveled to events for that. We were lucky enough with that game that the game was a Fantasy Flight game. Fantasy Flight Games is the company who makes it. So they're based here in Minnesota. We used to go play at their Fantasy Flight Games Center all the time, where they held.
You're so lucky.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And we knew people, like we knew the designers and the devs for the game and stuff. So we loved the game. It was local, and they held Worlds. The very last Worlds ever held for the game was here in Minnesota. So we got to go play in that together and spend like 4 days just playing Star Wars Destiny. We traveled and did stuff too. So we became friends through all of that. And then once that game was canceled, we just wanted to stay together because we were all friends, and that was basically the thing that how we got to Fab was we wanted to keep playing card games together. You know, we're a group of friends who just wanted to keep playing cards together. So we kind of had this pact that whatever game we chose, we were going to choose together. We were all going to go and play the card games together. So that's where we ended up in Dragon Ball. And then when Flesh and Blood started and that got going, we picked that up and we've been playing it ever since. So
awesome, man. So how hard has it been as a content creator during this after nationals season? Like, not even after your nationals, after all the nationals, because I noticed that when your nationals is done, like, luckily we were first, right? So we were physically stopped playing, but it wasn't over because you so wanted to know what the other countries were doing, right? And who was performing really well. But when all of it was done, it was like, okay, now what? Like, what do we talk? Like, I mean, how hard has it been for you guys to sort of find a thing to talk about, or hasn't it been pretty hard? Has it been pretty easy? You know?
Yeah, for us, it was definitely something that we were concerned about. We did talk about the fact that for us, we took a break. Like, we actually took the first break we've ever taken to the channel. I think we went something like 70 weeks straight where we never missed.
You do it weekly?
Yeah, we do a weekly podcast and we did a weekly live stream, and we did it, I think, for 70 consecutive weeks. We never missed a single one. We had weeks where Dane is typically our editor. He was in Hawaii. So I had to record a podcast and edit it, which wasn't the thing I did, but we said, we're doing it every week. So we're doing it every week. Jason was traveling. His son is a lacrosse player and he travels a lot for his club teams and stuff. So Jason was traveling and he would pop open his laptop. He played a game one time on our live stream off of a hotspot in the back of the car while they were driving to his mom's house to visit for a holiday. And it was like that full commit where we were like, we're going to do it every week, no matter what. This is what we're doing. And that honestly became, I think, it was fine. It was just, we were in rhythm. It was great doing it. And because there were spoilers and new sets coming out, and then it was road to national season, and we had skirmishes and then nationals. And then after nationals ended, we were at the end of the national stuff. We had like a last podcast or two before we took our like holiday break, and there was just nothing to talk about. Like, that was the hardest thing, because for us especially, we're very much like, I know there are a lot of people who are doing content for, commoner format or UPF or fun versions of the game. And those are fine, but we struggle to talk about even skirmish, because the only reason we play skirmishes is to win skirmishes and to get the prizing and then to go back to constructed, because that's just how we are. And that's not our thing. I know that's something that I know that like you get along with us in that sense. We are not blitz people. It's just not who we are. It's not our nature.
Simon and Tripp especially, he's a blitz. He's fine with blitz. He finds a good space and stuff. Me, no, I ain't got any sort of time for blitz. As you may all know, people, I fucking hate blitz. It's spoiler season soon, so we should be having a lot of fun knowing what that is. But I don't think the spoiler season might help us out as content creators for a bit, but it's really weird because, like, I've always made a flat out decision of, I don't want to do a list of like, okay, everyone, this is the spoiler list. Let's go through each card and explain the card. Oh no, let's not do that. So people can just go on Discord and look, right? Yeah. They don't need my running commentary of each bit. But I think there'll be one or two interesting tidbits to bring up. But I think until the ProQuest season gets underway, that's kind of like where we're like, oh man, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah,
so, I know it's tricky.
We tend to be the kings of the hot take. Like, I feel like we should like find a way to trademark that or come up with some way to frame ourselves as that, because whenever spoiler season comes around, we always just give, like I said, we give our honest opinion. I assume that at some point Dane will probably take it and run with the opportunity to go back and find old opinions that just absolutely make us look like idiots, because it's totally possible. We give honest opinions, we give them without filter, and we give them without thinking, and that has definitely created some things where even within a few weeks, sometimes people are like, wow, that was a bad take. It's like, yeah, no, that's I mean, that's fair. We had a bad take, whatever. But I always I liken it to the fact that, you see like sports commentary guys, right? Who are the guys you like to listen to? Is it the guy who's always ho-humming and sitting directly on top of the fence and he won't pick a side? It's like, no, that guy's not fun to listen to, and he doesn't have a bunch of people listening.
No, you want to be the guy that just Hail Marys the opinion. It's that guy.
Yeah, like, this guy's winning. Sure. This guy's the best. That team sucks. They're winning a championship this year. That's the guy you want to listen to, because even if he's wrong, he's at least fun to listen to. It's good TV, and that's what we always say is, you might not like our opinions sometimes, but we're good TV because we're honest and we just give you what we think. And
that's why I tune him. So now that you mentioned the hot takes, I'm going to end this on a hot take.
Okay.
So, give me your top 5 heroes that you think will transition over with you haven't actually got any. We have got nothing to go this on, and by the time this probably comes out, there'll probably be like 10 billion spoilers thrown out in 2 days. I don't know, right? But give me your top 5 heroes that you think might transition over to the ProQuest season and do reasonably well. Not be the best, but do reasonably well.
All right. Oh man.
Through no reason whatsoever. No information.
I have no information. Like I don't have spoiler information, anything, but I think that, in my humble opinion, I think that Viserai is going nowhere, which you should be psyched about, and I think you probably believe.
What do you mean going nowhere? As in he's not winning shit? Or...
No, like we've had a very firm take on our channel for a while.
I didn't like your opinions. I was like, it's tier 1 or nothing.
for a long time, we were Viserai was bad because he just struggled into the field. But now I think Viserai has elevated himself to, like, Viserai's right there. He's always going to be in the race. I think someone could top potentially every event with Viserai, but he falls into that category to me, like another guy that I think will always be there, which is Bravo. But I think those are two heroes that will always be there, but have to be piloted really well. They get punished really hard for not being piloted well, which is why I think they'll always be there. But I don't necessarily know that they'll like win. I don't think Briar's going anywhere because what she does is crazy and she has a lot of builds. That's the biggest thing with her, is that I think there are a lot of people who haven't even experienced a channel Mount Heroic Force of Nature turn, and you'll reconsider a lot of your theory on game if you get hit with one of those. That's pretty bad. Oh man, those are 3.
Yeah. So we've got 2 more.
2 more. The 2 more is tough. I know. So I personally, I'll give you the hot take. I think the best deck right now in the game is Chain.
That's not a hot take. That's okay. I was waiting. I was sitting there going, if you don't say Chain, that will be a hot take.
I think the misconception is that Chain is just one of the best decks. I think Chain is bonkers. I think people who don't understand,
he is bonkers.
Like I've got a buddy who plays him. I've got a bunch of buddies who play him, but one guy he and I played some games, and people don't understand that if you know how to pitch stack and you can go Howl from Beyond, Riftbind, that just ends the game. It's over. Yeah. There's nothing you can do to it. So people think that Seeds got banned, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's made his life a little bit trickier. In fact, it's actually made him reasonably fun to play again.
Yes.
He's actually someone where you go, oh yeah, I know you can go again whenever the fuck you like and it's broken, but you actually do have you're binning your deck. That's a problem. It's also a benefit, but it's also a problem.
Yeah.
And there's a good juggle to that.
Yep. I think the new juggle with it is a lot better. I think that the way that it's played now, it benefits really good pilots, because people get punished for things that they didn't before, which was like, oh, I play Seeds Riftbind with a shackle, and then easy. I shackle. But now there are times where you go, okay, I've got go again from like a flock that I want to use on something, but I don't want to break the combat chain. So I'll shackle now, then I'll play Command and Conquer. Then the shackle won't affect that. It'll hit the next card. And it's like all those little minute things that didn't have to be thought about before. It just gives it gives good pilots benefit. And I love decks that benefit good pilots. So I have zero issue with Chain now, and I think he's crazy good. I don't know what the fifth deck is really. I think Oldham probably is the fifth deck.
I've got a hot take.
Okay. I'm always
Prism.
Prism.
I
think
Prism is ready. If Prism is one or two cards away.
I think she's a deck that's super. She's been interesting for a while because she's always been right there, and at times she's been really good because she countered Chain really well. But then at times she feels bad because if you can just go a little bit faster than her, then she can get behind, right? And that's something that
it's one of her most powerful assets is her weakness, which is instant speed. You know, the Spectras. Yeah. They are so strong, but they are also just they cut you when you've got them in your hand.
Yeah,
you're like, this does nothing. This does nothing. I can have to just take a punch to the face, and I can go. But I got this out, and you're like, was it worth it? No, I don't know. So, dude, thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what people are going to take from this because as you can probably tell, I had an idea and we just went with it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. It's Christmas, man. 2022. Anyway, cheers for jumping on.
Thanks, man.
No, seriously though, the Outcast Haven guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been in the game since the beginning, pretty much. They are a solid listen, so please go and check them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's lots of really good stuff going on in the Fab content creator community, and I think it's a good community. Like, we've really enjoyed being part of it and making content for almost a year. We're coming up to the year, I guess. I think we started in
April?
May or something, or April.
Yeah.
I just did a year of Fyendal, so we're still a very young community, but it's like it's fun, you know. Like, making this content is enjoyable, and we really enjoy doing it. Like,
I honestly never
we
thought
don't-
I
we
would
don't-
be doing this.
you know,
I
we don't
enjoy
get
doing it
any-
'cause I get to hang out with you two, right?
yeah, but I was just gonna say we
that's
don't.
why
We don't.
I do enjoy it.
We don't get any. Like, you know, this is we don't get anything.
No,
We have
quite.
we have the Patreon, but like all of that basically just goes back. It's basically saving up to get these two new mics, and then that's going to be back down to zero
Simon,
again.
did you miss a trick? Were you the same as me after
I
Christmas?
didn't ask for a mic for Christmas.
No,
no.
I sat there and thought, what? I could have
That
just
would've
said,
been really
"Can I get a
smart.
mic?" And then I would have been. I know. I sat there and thought, what? Why did I not ask for a new mic?
Yeah.
I know.
We should talking about Patreon. We should probably set up a giveaway for our few remaining hats for ProQuest season.
Yeah.
Everfest release ProQuest season.
Sweet.
So we'll have a think about that, and we'll keep an ear to the ground, and
Yeah,
we will
we've
update
got
you as we go.
3 of them have been allocated. We own 3, so there should be
3 left.
I want to say 4
There's
left
3
because
left.
there was 10.
There's 3 left.
3 left because
Yeah,
we're
it's 3
giving
left.
3 left. Okay.
Yeah.
3
So
left.
we've got 3. 4 got given away, and
4. Yeah, it was we did YouTube and Patreon. Yeah, you were
yeah,
right.
and then
So we've got 3
two
left,
for Nats as well.
and these are going to be so there's going to be no more of this particular design. So these are going to be unique.
There's no black. So at the minute, there's no black peaks.
We'll use the same. We'll probably use the same logo.
Yeah,
but-
same logo, different coloured peaks. There's no black peaks coming out.
So if you want one like the ones that we wear, we will do something for ProQuest, or we'll do something. We'll probably involve the Patreon somehow with that. So.
yeah.
Always worth being a Patreon. We had a nice exclusive long interview for the patrons as well with Tariq. That if you're interested in getting hold of that,
Yeah,
That went
just
out
have
just
to join.
pre-Christmas. Yeah, so if you're a Patreon, you have access to the unedited Tariq
one.
interview.
I know. I apologise because it's. I think the start was super ropey, but there was some really.
Oh, I
good
think I cut most of that out though.
Did you? All right. No, the start.
Just Hamish talking about clapping for 5 minutes and
it
explaining
wasn't
to
funny.
everyone how the clap works. It's like, I think they get it, Hamish.
It's good. Hey, if you want to know how it works. But then there was some other questions that were thrown in there as well, and then he actually threw me some questions, which was a good debate about certain heroes as well. So Patreon, jump on, that'll be awesome. Anyway.
And in an effort to keep this relatively short and sweet, let's finish with some flesh and blood resolutions for 2022.
Cool.
Yeah, so I guess the idea with this is just what do you want to achieve in 2022 when it comes to the game? Like, you guys had a very successful 2021 because you both made Worlds.
Yeah.
Where do you guys want to take it from there? Should we start with you, Hamish? Like, what do you want to do in 2020? It doesn't have to be competitive as well. Like,
Well, it's only competitive.
do you want to focus more on one hero? Do you want to really crack something? Like, do you want to? What do you want to do?
What do I
want to finish your fab den? Just finish your fab cave, I guess.
I'll get that done. So weirdly enough, one of my journeys with Flesh and Blood, which was like a dream journey, which didn't think it would happen and it did, was to get a hero that I particularly really enjoyed, it was one of those things where, wouldn't it be cool if I was kind of known as that guy for that hero? You know, and I did. And I was like, wow, I don't know how the fuck I managed that, but I managed to become the Viceroy guy, which is something I've always wanted to be. Now, what do I want to do now is, well, I don't know if I want to continue to maintain that, but I kind of really want to be able to continue to be at these major events. So, you know, the ProQuest tours, I hope I can do relatively well. I want to make it to a Pro Tour, and my major goal is I just want to go to Worlds, and I want to see the amazing Flesh and Blood community that is internationally, and just see them for the first time and have a beer with them. That'll be that's my Flesh and Blood sort of journey, really. And to continue to grow this awesome podcast with you guys.
Yeah, I'll jump in next. And I was going to say, I agree. I really want to continue to grow my own channel, and I really want to continue to grow this podcast. I think I had an amazing 2021 in terms of people coming up to me and talking about Push the Point, being really excited about the podcast, just having nothing but praise for it. And I just want to keep making content for those people, the individuals that come up to us and tell us how much they love listening to the podcast, and the people that comment on the YouTube videos, and just generally the people that are out there that enjoy it and don't communicate. Like, we just want to keep making content for you guys. And 2022, we're just going to be doing the podcast, and we're going to continue to be doing interesting videos. You know, like we've done the deck techs. I think you've probably noticed that we tried to do deck techs on good decks, not to throw any shade, but like we really try to focus on the actual really good quality stuff and get the people that know how to play the deck like 100%. I just want to do more of that, just really get really high quality content. We're trying to do high quality stuff, and that's what we want to continue to do. Want to grow my own personal channel and stuff, and like with Fyendals, just keep making more videos with that and just growing that channel.
Oh, Fyendals, go make your own fucking resolution on your channel.
Well, it's true, you know. Hamish is so better. We've almost taken over Fyendal's subscriber counts, so
that's my New Year's resolution.
Hopefully,
that's my personal selfish one.
I think by the end of 2022, what I want to have is I want Push the Point and Fyendal's library to both be at like plus 500 subs. That would be pretty sick. That would be really, really awesome.
That would be cool. Simon.
From an actual gameplay point of view, I just want to do well at the ProQuest, and
I'm gonna go get a beer. Hang on.
And maybe do better at nationals than I did last year. Maybe like a couple of places higher. Like
Tripp,
3 places higher.
I think you'll end up being at all these major tournaments. Like
I hope so.
I envision it. I envision you'll end up there.
You guys are older than me, so every year I'm just like that many years behind you in experience. So as long as I do it before I'm your age,
you'll be good. I reckon you're going to do real well this ProQuest season, and I'm going to do really terrible. It'll be just like Road to Nationals all over again. I'll be
and then you'll crush the Pro Tour.
Yeah, no, anyway, the Pro Tour I'll somehow manage there, and we come out and get in top 8 somehow. That'll be cool.
Simon, you go. What is your 2022 resolution?
To win.
I just feel like the kid who's at the end of the class, who's been like, everyone else has gone through their answers, and
it's all the same fucking answers that you were going to say.
Yeah. So you're
winning,
actually right.
Simon.
Worlds, very fortunate to have a PTI, and hopefully can use that for Worlds. I would love to experience a Pro Tour level event. So whether that be a Pro Tour or a Worlds event, like family, COVID, work permitting, that would be amazing. And to follow on from that, there are certain people that I would want to meet that I've been in conversation with or had building friendships with since the beginning of the community, like Dante, like Eric Larrea, like Sasha, like Rohan, like
well, not
all the
Rohan.
Kiwi guys, Tom and Aaron, and
I want to see Kel McCreef. I would love to see him in real life, and if we ever get Matt Rogers, all these people. If we can ever get a chance to just go and say, hey,
and
this is cool.
like Jordan from Cobra Pearl and people like that who have played over and over again. No, that's Jordan Nelson Fossil, Kiwi guy. No, there's more than one Jordan. But these people that I've like built friendships with over time, would be amazing to meet as many of those as possible at Worlds. But weirdly, what I really want to see this year is the UK stake its claim as like a serious flesh and blood contender.
We tried that. It didn't work. So maybe next time we shouldn't stream it.
But and what
Stop
I mean
interrupting Simon.
What I mean by that is
be sincere.
Not necessarily me by any means, but just seeing people from the UK scene going and representing on Pro Tours and representing at Worlds and showing people that actually that Nationals maybe wasn't a representation of how we play and what we do, and showing that the community is stronger competitively than people give it credit for. So, and that probably goes for all of Europe, to be honest. I think Europe has been a bit sidelined just because of the way COVID has happened and the way the network works. But yeah, I would love to see someone from the UK and maybe Europe do really well at Pro Tours and at Worlds.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for pretty much anyone Europe-wise in Worlds.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see a couple of Europeans get like top 8 Worlds and potentially go for the number 1 spot.
I'll be furious if any American wins. Cheers, Blake. I'm joking. Or am I?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Guys, I think we've wrapped it up. I mean, this is amazing compared to the last one.
Oh yeah, I know. It's still going to suck editing, but yeah.
I think the last
like
one
and
the last
subscribe.
one's still going.
Like and subscribe. Go and check out the Patreon. Make sure that you go back and look at our
and guys,
extensive catalogue.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want your 2022. What do you want to achieve in Fab in 2022?
Yeah.
Just let us know in the comments. Like, it doesn't have to be super serious. Just like maybe you want to try out a new hero. Maybe you want to like get that. Like maybe you don't own the legendary for hero and you want to like open the card, right? Like
could be a
stuff
collection.
like that. Like I'd be really interested. I had one that I just want to sell some cards. Like I'm really bad at selling cards. Like I just want to get rid of some cards and make some money back, and like just stuff like that. I would be really interested to hear what you want to do, like depending on how you come to the game.
Yeah.
So stick that in the comments, message us on Discord, and we'll try and feature it.
Yeah.
In a very much more muted fashion. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.